We're going to dig more deeply into lesson 1.3. So here's your overview. This is still part of the original unit. The lesson goal here is to dig more deeply into the 3 E's of excellence, ethics, and engagement, and talk about how the qualities of good workers relate to those elements. Here are the assessment elements for this particular lesson. CASEL alignment. Portfolio documentation is the exit ticket for this lesson. A number of resources here. In particular, I would point to the 3 core concepts blogs of excellence, ethics, and engagement. We actually have blogs on our website for all of the key concepts of the Good Project. So you'll see here a spelling out of more information about the concept of excellence. So it might be helpful to you to dig into that before you teach these lessons in general. The 2 prerequisites are the 2 lessons that have come prior to this. And again, we estimate that it'll take about 45 minutes for all of the lessons. And I will say this in each of our reviews, there are elements, if you are running short on time, feel free to cut out whatever you feel is least relevant to your particular students. We have a lot of suggestions here that are designed to help you cater to your students and figure out what will work best for your particular learners. And feel free to get rid of the video, for example, or go more quickly through the introduction, and we'll make sure to highlight those. An optional refresher, which is something that you could cut out if you feel like your students are on top of things. Remind them that in the last lesson, you discussed qualities of good workers. We suggest that you share that list of those qualities that you had produced in the previous lesson, and to look together at the qualities and briefly discuss them. So digging in, you want to introduce the 3 E's and ask the students what these words mean and crowdsource a set of definitions for these terms. For your own understanding, again, just so that you're prepared for your students, might be useful to look at these 3 blogs ahead of time. Our definitions are here, short and sweet, but we want to stress that these are open to interpretation, and it's good to try to come to a common understanding of what the 3 E's stand for. And then once you feel that your students have a good basic understanding of the concepts, we suggest that you move on to categorizing the qualities. And this is the bulk of the lesson, this activity here. So in a visible or digital space somewhere that everyone can look at together, create 3 columns: excellence, ethics, and engagement. And then you're going to look at those qualities of good workers that you gathered at the previous lesson and try to put them under a particular column. So for example, if you came up with the idea of honesty, is honesty more relevant to excellent, ethical, or engaging work? Often it ends up here in the ethics column. And what about, for example, hard work or putting your all into work? That might be excellence. Or if someone's talking about passion, that could be under engagement. But sometimes there are words that don't fit neatly into one or another column. And that's when things get interesting. And I think it's important to tell students that perhaps it may well be that a particular quality should be in 2 columns. And that's what makes good work interesting. It's not always neat and tidy. Sometimes people may have their own version of what excellent work is, and that version may entail the idea of, I'm not doing my best if I'm not being honest. It should be excellent as well. And that kind of back and forth where students are really engaged is where things get exciting. Here are some visuals of work that students produced shared from one of our colleagues in Virginia here in the US. It's just some ideas of visual ways to share this reflection together. And then here are some suggestions for summing up. And then finally, the exit ticket. So this is a common thinking routine that we use. I used to think, and now I think. So we ask students to complete the thinking routine. I used to think good work meant, and now I think. Here's an example. I used to think good work was work that was done perfectly. Now I think that good work is not just done well, but it should be done with passion and care. So this is just one idea, but asking students to do that for themselves as well is the exit ticket for this lesson.